Go outside if you're going to act like that. My mother didn't raise her voice at first. She didn't need to. I stood in the kitchen, exhausted, still in my school hoodie, staring at the half-empty counter. It's 2 in the morning, I said quietly. I have exams tomorrow. My brother leaned against the doorway, smirking. I said I wanted something hot, he added. Not excuses. I looked at him, then at her. Waiting for someone to say this had gone too far. No one did. My name is Rachel Donovan, and that was the moment I realized I didn't live in a home. I lived in a system. Servants don't argue. My mother snapped suddenly. Before I could respond, she grabbed my arm and dragged me toward the back door. Mom, I started. The door opened. Cold air slammed into my face. Maybe this will teach you respect, she said. Then she pushed me outside. The door shut. Locked. Behind me, snow covered the ground, thick and untouched. My breath came out in sharp clouds as the freezing air wrapped around me instantly. I turned toward the window. My brother stood there, warm, smiling. He lifted his hand and waved slowly. Maybe the cold will fix your attitude, he mouthed. I stood there in the dark, barefoot, shaking. And for the first time in my life, I stopped waiting for them to change. The cold hit fast. It wasn't the kind you adjust to. It was the kind that bites. Within minutes, my fingers started to sting, then numb. My feet burned against the snow like they couldn't decide whether they were freezing or on fire. I knocked on the door once. Not hard. Just enough. No answer. Inside, I could see the kitchen lights still on. Shadows moving. Life continuing like I didn't exist just a few feet away. I stepped back, because something inside me had already shifted. Begging wouldn't change anything. It never had. The wind picked up, cutting through my hoodie like it wasn't there. My teeth started chattering uncontrollably. I wrapped my arms around myself, trying to hold in what little warmth I had left. That's when I noticed something. The side gate. Slightly open. I hadn't seen it at first through the snow. Slowly, carefully, I walked toward it, each step slower than the last. My legs were already starting to feel heavy. I pushed the gate open. It creaked loudly. For a second, I froze, waiting for someone to shout. No one did. I stepped out into the street. Dark. Silent. Empty. Behind me, the house stood warm and bright. In front of me, nothing. I didn't have shoes. I didn't have a coat. I didn't have a plan. But I had something else now. A decision. And I didn't look back. The snow muffled everything. Even my footsteps. Each step felt slower than the last, like my body was starting to shut down piece by piece. My toes were completely numb now. I couldn't feel the ground anymore. Only the pressure. Only the cold. The streetlights flickered faintly above me, casting long shadows across the empty road. I didn't know where I was going. I just knew I couldn't stop. Stopping meant sitting. Sitting meant freezing. And freezing meant not getting back up. My breath came out uneven, sharp and shallow. I focused on something simple. One step, then another, then another. That's when I saw it. A porch light. Warm, soft, steady. It cut through the darkness like something real. I moved toward it slowly, my legs barely cooperating now. The house came into view. Small, simple, but alive. Light in the windows. Smoke rising faintly from the chimney. I reached the steps and grabbed the railing to steady myself. My hand slipped. I barely caught myself. Everything felt distant now, like I was underwater. I knocked on the door once. Weak. Then again. The sound echoed strangely in my ears. For a second, nothing happened. Then I heard footsteps. The door opened, and a voice said something I hadn't heard in a very long time. Oh my God, are you okay? I don't remember falling. I remember the voice. I remember hands. Warm, strong, urgent. Then everything went dark. When I opened my eyes again, I was lying on a couch wrapped in thick blankets. A heater hummed nearby, filling the small living room with steady warmth. My fingers burned. Not cold anymore. Worse. The kind of pain that comes back when feeling returns. Hey, easy, a woman's voice said gently. I turned my head slowly. She knelt beside me, worry written all over her face. "You're safe," she added. "You're inside." Safe. The word didn't feel real yet. "What happened?" I whispered. "You were outside in the snow," she said carefully. "Barefoot. No coat." Her eyes softened. "You're lucky you made it to the door." Lucky. I swallowed, my throat dry. "Did you call?" I started. "An ambulance?" she finished. I nodded weakly. She hesitated. "Not yet," she said. "I wanted to warm you up first." I stared at the ceiling, trying to process everything. Then she asked the question I had been avoiding. "Where are your parents?" I didn't answer, because for the first time, I wasn't thinking about going back. I was thinking about something else. What happens when you don't? I didn't answer her question. Instead, I turned my face slightly toward the warmth of the heater and closed my eyes for a second. "Hey," she said softly. "Stay with me." I forced them open again. "My name's Mrs. Alvarez," she continued gently. "You're safe here, okay?" Safe. I nodded faintly. That word still felt unfamiliar. She handed me a cup of something warm. "Tea, I think." My hands shook as I held it, the heat stinging my skin. "You need a hospital," she said carefully. "You were out there too long." My chest tightened. Hospital meant questions. Questions meant answers. And answers meant them. "I'm fine," I whispered. She didn't look convinced. "No," she said quietly. "You're not." For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then she reached for her phone. "I'm calling for help." Panic flickered through me. "No, wait," I said, grabbing her wrist weakly. She paused. I swallowed hard. "Please don't call them." Her eyes narrowed slightly. "Them?" I hesitated. Then the words came out before I could stop them. "My parents." Silence settled between us. Mrs. Alvarez looked at me carefully now. Not confused. Not surprised. Just understanding. And that scared me more than anything, because it meant she already knew something wasn't right. Mrs. Alvarez didn't argue. She just studied me for a long moment, like she was deciding something important. Then she nodded slowly. "Okay," she said. "Not them." Relief hit me so suddenly it almost hurt. But it didn't last, because she picked up her phone anyway. "I'm still calling someone," she added gently. My chest tightened again. "Who?" "People who actually help in situations like this," she replied. "Not the ones who caused it." Her tone was calm. Certain. That scared me more than anger would have. Within minutes, the quiet living room filled with movement. A paramedic. Then another. A woman with a clipboard who spoke softly, but watched everything carefully. They didn't rush me. They didn't overwhelm me. They asked simple questions. "Can you feel your fingers? Do you know what day it is? Are you in pain?" I answered what I could, avoided what I couldn't. Mrs. Alvarez stayed beside me the entire time. At one point, the woman with the clipboard knelt in front of me. "Rachel," she said gently, reading my name from somewhere. "We're going to make sure you're safe." Safe. That word again. But this time, it sounded different. Real. Because for the first time, someone wasn't asking me to endure something. They were asking me to leave it behind. And I didn't know if I was ready for that. The ambulance ride was quiet. Not empty. Just careful. A paramedic sat beside me, checking my hands every few minutes, while the woman with the clipboard, her name was Jenna, stayed near my feet, watching me like I might disappear if she looked away. "You're doing really well," the paramedic said gently. I nodded. I didn't feel strong. I just felt done. At the hospital, everything moved quickly. Warm blankets. Soft lights. Voices that didn't raise. No one yelled. No one blamed. No one told me I deserved it. That alone felt unreal. Jenna stayed with me through everything. At one point, she pulled a chair closer and lowered her voice. "Rachel," she said carefully, "we need to talk about where you'll go after this." The question sat heavy in the air. Home wasn't an option. Not anymore. "I don't have anywhere," I admitted quietly. She didn't react like I expected. No pity. No shock. Just a calm nod. "Okay," she said. "Then we'll find somewhere safe." Somewhere safe. The words didn't feel impossible anymore. That's when her phone buzzed. She glanced at it. Then her expression changed slightly. What is it? I asked. She hesitated. Your family, she said carefully. My chest tightened. They've been calling the hospital. I went still. Why? I whispered. Jenna looked at me seriously. They're saying you ran away. I stared at Jenna, the words settling slowly. They said I ran away. I repeated. She nodded. They've called multiple times. They're asking where you are. Of course they were. Not because they were worried, because they had lost control. I looked down at my hands, wrapped in soft bandages. For years, I had stayed quiet, adjusted, endured, believed that if I just tried harder, things would change. They never did. Are they coming here? I asked. Jenna shook her head. We haven't given them any information. Relief moved through me like something warm. Good, I said softly. She studied me for a moment. Rachel, she said gently, you get to decide what happens next. That sentence felt unfamiliar, dangerous even, because no one had ever said that to me before. A nurse stepped in briefly, checking my vitals, then left again. The room fell quiet. I looked out the window. Snow still falling, but I wasn't in it anymore. I don't want to go back, I said finally. Jenna nodded. Then you won't. No hesitation. No conditions. Just certainty. And for the first time in my life, I believed it. Because this time, I wasn't being told to survive something. I was being given a way out. And I chose it.